time to get to me. Forgive me, please forgive me. So yeah, I don't know.
Hello guys, it's Shockwave King back here once again. You saw the title of the video, who is Gun Daniels, or doing the development of the game known as Archangel. Now I want to make this video because I've been searching for information about this man for decades, for centuries. Ever since the beginning of Afro Samurai 2, the development volume 1, the Revenge of Kuma, I've been looking like, oh, Archangel, a new Western character. What is this? I watched every single one of the developer interviews, seen all the gameplay trailers. The game came out, and he has like a small role towards the end. But after the chase, he's pretty much gone. But, yeah, that's more or less it. Now, there's some interesting things that come with the character of Archangel, aka Gun Daniels. Number one, we kind of get a timeline of when Afro Samurai actually takes place. Because the whole war he's referring to is obviously referring to the Civil War, and he's obviously from Pendleton, Georgia. So, it takes place during the 1800s, 1860s, or somewhere around there. Alright then. Now, that wouldn't explain the technology that's both inside the anime and the entire modern city that is inside the Afro Samurai manga at the top of the mountain. Somebody say, well, we say he wanted to be like Batman. They're not connected. They're loosely connected. It's the same reason how in Afro Samurai 1, there was like no other type of characters. Like, he was to fight that guy he fought and the Resurrection for the number 2 headband. Never existed in the manga. Well, showed up way early in the manga. But it is loosely canon and it is loosely connected, similar to the whole DJ Ball also happened in the manga. So, and certain other characters also showed up in the manga from that movie. So it's not like, well, it's similar to every Batman reboot. Everything, it had the same usual thing. Jason Todd becomes Jason Todd. Dick Grayson becomes Nightwing. Da 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 da. Some things through Batman incarnations always happen, no matter what. This is one of them. So, even though it's not following the exact same canon, it is loosely canon since the first game was made alongside the first anime. They both got the license around the same time to make it. So, it's not like this is just, well, these guys had, they actually had to get some type of story influence from the author himself. I can't remember his name. I think it's like Takachi something. But, yeah, it is very interesting with that aspect, because it kind of put a time and date on Afro Samurai, which, when you look at the series, you just kind of accept, or like a lot of series, whether it's comic book or a manga, you kind of accept what it was. It is just some type of futuristic Western style, then it's just futuristic. It was just a futuristic modern day style, was supposed to take place in 2005, but they got camouflage and Metal Gear, we just kind of accepted. There's a lot of things where just like, we just take it at face value. You don't really need any background lore, even though people question it. Well, in this case, we're all getting something distinct, because it could answer where Justice originally came from. Because as far as we know, Justice was just there. Aruku Taro, Afro's father, and then that was just it. We don't know how far they go back. They don't know how Justice even got here, because we all know Afro is based off of the story of Yusuke, an actual black community in Japan in that time period. So it's just I don't know. It is bringing some interesting questions with Gun Daniels of where Justice actually came from, because he does mention we're part of the 56 part of the 56 cavalry of 56 cavalry or something. Yeah, he's part of this. Him and his clan is from the 56 cavalry of John. I don't think he said George. He said 56 cavalry or something. But he obviously confirmed that he's from the West. He gets him to a pirate-looking ship. He's obviously from Georgia, from the United States. How did he end up in Japan? I don't know. Because you think about it, Gun Daniels and Justice are the only 2 characters that the entire series we actually see with 6 shooters. They're the only 2. Everybody else would have machine gun arrows or those classic samurai muskets that they're using. Aside from those, and like one of the MT7 having, number 1 having a cybernetic arm that turned into a machine gun. Everybody else didn't really use guns like that, aside from Justice and Gun Daniels. And it's just, it's said that the game was never able to get finished or ever get completed. But I just find it strange how no one talks about this character, what type of lore implications with this character being introduced could cause, or just not, because it's obvious that he's supposed to have a bigger role in the game. You could tell by the loading screens that he was supposed to show up later, and it also goes into what's the purpose of the entire Revenge of Kuma. Because the way the villagers are talking about, well, you know, this is Kuma out for revenge for his old friend. That's not what this is. This takes place after season 1 in the first game. What you talking about, son? What are you talking about? In that Now we don't know how much time it passed from Afro got the #1 headband till the end of the season 1. The whole time forward where Kuma just got all strapped up with the bandanas, and you can see all his cybernetic body parts, and he lost all his skin. It obviously take place in between that gap, because even on the loading screens with Juno facing down Archangel, he's literally got multiple headbands. Not a cool effect. The reason why Gun Daniels was here, because they're losing the Civil War, and I heard tales of a bunch of headbands don't make them gods. And he's just like, they could do that for them, then we could turn this entire war around. And I snatched 2 headbands from 2 hillbillies already. So it was just, how did he find them? I don't know. And does he not know that it's just, because really, only thing he really needs the number 2, because you get introduced to him, he is talking to somebody while drinking something, and it's just, you never find out who he's talking to, but it says, you got him? Alright then. Make sure there's no survivor. We're burning this place down when you close up. And then he addresses Juno after Juno says something to him. So he's obviously just doing his own thing. So. Yeah, it was obviously supposed to tell this whole entire story to a certain degree, at least what I believe, of how Kuma got all of the other, I think it's like 12 to 11 headbands, and how you showed up to face Afro again, because Gun Daniels already have 2, and the loading screen it seemed like he has like 5 or 6, and I couldn't the fact that they're still searching for Afro with number 3 of the MD7, so it obviously take place in between that gap, because everybody dies in this city, and Afro Resurrections number 3 just so happened to have a strip club / DJ bar. Yeah, number 3. I don't think that was a mistake, but alright then. But I just find Gun Daniels to be an interesting character. I don't see why they changed his name from Archangel. I was juiced up from that name, but I don't hate Gun Daniels. But he is an interesting, fascinating character, and too bad we never get to see who the Colonel is, or you just can call him Harold C. Clark. Or the Colonel. I don't know, it adds some extra in-depth lore to the series, but it's just, I did kind of prefer to be ambiguous, but it's nothing I outright hate. That he's from Pendleton, Georgia. From the 56th Cavalry. But, yeah. I don't know, 'cause it really does put a question of where did justice come from. Because it's obviously that #1 Afro just was him and his father. It's not really explained how he showed up, but he is inspired by Yasuke. But when it refers to our boy here, Justice here, there's no backstory towards him. There is no backstory of how he was able to come back. There is no backstory of how he showed up. There's no backstory of how he even found in the hitbeds in the first place. But if he was the Colonel, which could be a theory that could be true or not, because the reason why I doubt it was because Gun Daniels talked down about the Justice statues and what the other headbands are, since they claim that the headbands are spread out to the Justice statues and things like that, on which, who released those headbands in the first place? There's no real scene where it's just like they gets out of the mountain and just go all over the place to Mount Summit. But alright then, I guess that's just what happened, which explains how Kuma got the other headbands, but I wish would have had a definitive more answer to how, but alright then. Alright then. Nothing bad, but it's just But yeah, 6-shooting toting Gun Daniels, aka formerly known as Archangel. What do you guys thoughts about him? I personally wish you could have seen more of him, because he was supposed to have this big showdown with Kuma. It was explain how he got his body ended up like that. Similar to how, like they said, well, the gameplay would change in volume 2 and 3, which would match up to how Kuma, when he shows back up at the end of season 1, no longer has the katanas he used to wield, and he's wielding like some type of katana-like meat cleavers. Which you do see Gino stab Gun Daniels with the inside the load screen with one. So just a lot of pictures. I just find Gun Daniels being an interesting character because he actually gives description from where he's from. Actually shows that what time period this stuff takes place in, and it's just very interesting character. And like no one's make videos about this guy. It's almost like he just doesn't exist. It's just you can't look for him on the wiki. You type in Afro Samurai 2 Gun Daniels, you don't see absolutely nothing about that in the game itself. No one talks about it. There's no wiki. There's nothing for it. It's like people just forgot the game even existed. Okay, hey, I wish we could have had some type of catch-up manga or something like that to explain the rest of the story. But hey, what can you do? But I only got your thoughts and opinions about Mr. Gun Daniels and what he could have became, what he could have done. Because interesting character, interesting character, interesting character, interesting character indeed. Very interesting. Because there's not like a lot to him. There's not like a massive, where we got over 12 hours, he actually shows up in the game, and then just Kuma just goes to do something else. So you find somebody who can track down the headbands, and he gets away. And it's just, alright then, buddy. Alright then, so he's just out there collecting headbands. Now technically you don't need all them headbands, so you can just challenge the number 2. Unless with all those headband releases you gotta go through order. But you don't, like, cause Justice claim you need all the headbands. But you can argue that the Justice Afro fault wasn't even real. Somebody say, well, he died in the manga. You fought up like a mental version of him inside the game. But he's obviously had to be alive. Not really. Because he showed us some abilities that no one else has seen in the series. Like he was able to regenerate his body from a mummy to just normal. Alright, dude. And apparently at the top of the mountain there's some type of other dimension that Justice was also able to control. It's unknown, was it because he was the number 1 or not. So, and it's also unconfirmed, was it Justice himself who collected all those headbands, or was it Rukutaro, Afro his father, who collected all those headbands. Either way it makes sense of why he went straight from the number 2 and had no other headbands. But I don't know. But Gun Daniels. So much in a short period of time. Well, I understand some of his lines of dialogue was cheesy and the voice acting was but I enjoyed the character for what he was. And too bad we won't be seeing no more of him. Tragic. If you have any further insight on the character or anything else besides from he's from Georgia, from the United States. He's looking for the headbands to turn him around the Civil War. And besides from that, there's all we really get about it. Now, he does later show up in the loading screen with a repeating rifle. Where you get that from? That lever action repeater? No one knows, but I guess he just left it on the ship. But some of just people just blend around. There's no one question how H-Angel is dressed. He's just there, just chilling and dealing. So yeah. And also another thing, something else I found interesting about Gun Daniels is if he's number 1, it's not explaining how long he's been in Japan, but 2, if he's a part of this 56th division of 56 cavalry. I keep butchering that. I forgot the exact same thing, the full thing he said. If he's part of that cavalry, then why is his men dressed up like a bunch of shadow ninjas and samurai? Is there any particular reason? Because you don't need to dress yourself up in some type of disguise, so it's just... Do you just hire these men for a quick buck? Like, why are your own men dressed up like samurai? Why are you called the Unforgiving? I guess the world will never know. But, yeah. Gun Daniels, what's your thoughts about from Afro Samurai 2? I find him to be a fascinating character to a certain degree. But, hey. The franchise has been up in the air for a while now, so who knows. Be Mr. King, like, comment, subscribe, and, what's your thoughts on Gun Daniels?